You just gotta try to do the math. I know you was doing that. Tell me what I gotta do to math. Taking every color of the rainbow, there are mixing you when I do it, man. I will never take another direction, little engine, not gonna lose my track. Cause when you see I ain't playing around like you know I be wanting that kitty cat. Can we just go on a coffee day, baby, and party train, hoping you cool with that? I just know that you would do that, the crib you wanna know when you be back. I just got you a place you could come and escape, just don't need to get you attached, yeah. Looking at the esoteric rainbow, see what colors I'm in. Disappear to the atmosphere, I'm the coming to win. Putting all the sheep to bed, I'm the one that's talking to man. Whoever on the opposite side, we ain't fucking with them. I tell you now, you a wonderful. You always acting like an animal. You turned into a cannibal. Every chick I got the antidote. Trust me, look, I ain't the one to be playing no. The discrepancies are backfire. Trust me, homeboy, it ain't gonna get you nowhere like a flat tire. It don't matter if you in a Jeep Cherokee or a Pathfinder. You could be talking to a nobody, you ain't know they had wires. Getting all the information from the past prior, how you was conducting the man. How you gon' keep on taking, and you ain't got nothing to hand. And now I'm an Indian giver. We're in the middle of winter. Spring, summer, fall time, girl, can you go and just fix me a dinner? Right in the bed, you're a to get pent up. I been making you happy when you be sad. This is not Alice in Wonderland, but I just wanna take you on a beauty path. Yeah, I'm taking a beauty path. You just gotta try to do the math. I know you was doing that. Tell me what I gotta do to math. Taking every color of the rainbow, there are mixing you when I do it, man. I will never take another direction, little engine, not gonna lose my track. Cause when you see I ain't playing around like you know I be wanting that kitty cat. Can we just go on a coffee day, baby, and party train, hoping you cool with that? I just know that you would do that, the crib you wanna know when you be back. Yeah, I just got you a place you could come and escape, just don't need to get too attached. Yeah, when I be going through the west, I'm trying to do better again. And I ain't talking about the sky when I'm in a heavenly land. I'm alive on earth, still can see me dead in the wind. Cause there's a lot of shit I've seen and heard I will never defend. Flying spots, no one better than hell. I'm on the right path. Can you show me where you like that? I might turn around and bring the fight back. Yeah, don't care about all of your frontin' you doing, who you in the line with. Your mental not the only thing sick, man, you might need some pilot. You might need a yucca play. Can somebody just tell me who a play? Yeah, soon as I came up on earth, they took one look at me and said, you the man. You gonna need me if you in America, bitch, cause I need a man. Been through a lot of relationships where we'll never be cool again. But you need a tutor, man, cause you haven't been learning a lot. You need to talk to a cop, ask if you working for the night. Yeah, I be circling out the Magic Square, Parliament hurting the block. Back up on the right path, as I watch it, you're in your turn in the clock. Oh yeah, I'm taking a beauty path, you just gotta try to do the math. I know you was doing that, tell me what I gotta do to laugh. Taking every color of the rainbow, there are mixing you when I do it, man. I will never take another direction, little engine, not gonna lose my track. Cause when you see I ain't playing around like you know I be wanting that kitty cat. Can we just go on a coffee day, baby, and party train, hoping you cool with that? I just know that you would do that, the crib you wanna know when you be back. I just got you a place you could come and escape, just don't need to get too attached, yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have that. All right, now let's check this out. Now we're gonna hear it back because we ain't gonna go that long and shit like that because we're finish these readings and shit. But we're gonna teach people how to actually get to higher plateaus, holy Mount Paramount, Arachnosaur Dam mountains and stuff like that. And you can be a little deer up there and stuff, and you can float down, look down, and be like, okay, is it a time to come back? Is it a time to organ implode, or is it a time to stay with the holy ones and stuff and just be the messenger, stay in a motherfucker's mind, or keep motherfuckers in their mind? But you control the less layer of life and the heavier dense of life, and you're helping the great spirit craft these things out that condense to become organs. Your little ass spirit could jump in and goddamn show somebody what you've been experiencing in this goddamn bitch. And it's only going to be compared to contrast with comprehension, so it's going to be up for a motherfucker to believe it or not. Yet your comprehension going to be led down into the organ as intelligence to be able to compare and contrast that a person can't mistake it, even if it's not a word, even if it's not a physical form, even if it's not a food, even if it's not an exercise, even if it's not an object you could point to in front of us. Motherfucker gonna be like, damn, that's why the object there in the first place. And that's the energy we need to get people in. You feel what I'm saying? Now, For the most part, let me not do that yet. So for the most part, this takes us into a situation of understanding, how to always remain on your lands, and then understand the whole quality behind why the spirit is eternal. And any type of thing that you kind of hear about people living forever, or people being in some type of concept, or whatever the case may be, you may have the wrong concept of it. But there is a concept of your spirit being eternal, your mind being internal, and your body being external, and that being a duplication or a representation of the mechanism that we are in. So I need you to understand that too, so you don't get too lost and think things pseudo. And then in another breath, you want to get into your grandma's spirit, and then you're saying everything I'm saying just with lack of comprehension because it's filtered through whatever your distraction or bias is. So it sound good, but it never lead into an energy of you being able to practice what you preach because you don't know where you're starting at. Thank you so much for the Cash App, Salah. And then if that's for reading also, I'm gonna get right to it as soon as I finish this live stream and get back to everybody else and stuff. But for the most part, this help you understand what's actually going on when it comes into the spirit world and how to duplicate it and what you actually supposed to do. And you're going to be doing this anyway, even if you have grace. It's just your lack of comprehension and control of this is what doesn't allow you to be in full control over your layering system. So you come in with validation issues or insecurities. So you don't like something about the mind you crafted, and you don't like something about that mind condensing in your organs and your bodily functions. There's certain things that you don't like about it. And it ain't what we do, it's how we do it. So how you did it might be a situation where you have a well-oiled running machine bodily function and you could think clearly, but just the level, circumstance, the situation, and the level of relatability that you're able to have access to may still make you find something to not like about yourself. Then you end up claiming you have problems that another individual wish they had. You got a lot of rich folk right now who got problems that a poor person wish they had. The rich person to be going through stress about it and shit like, I don't know which car I'm gonna drive to put the baby seats in the back and stuff like that. Goddamn it, you struggling for gas in your damn Volkswagen. So we gotta understand what the hell is going on and shit like that when we start to talk about spiritual quality and being able to compare and contrast the difference between what I'm talking about and how you're going to experience these things. And based upon level of comprehension, you also be able to compare and contrast, even if you in a current lifestyle right now or living state. I'm not talking about rich or poor right now. I'm just talking about just living and you born, everybody born again, especially if you got grace. A lot of spirits with through spiritual evaporation, but if you got grace and you born here, then your level of comprehension on how you're dealing with things, not what you're dealing with, how you deal with it. That'd be another way how you can compare and contrast. For the most part, you could be amongst your peers, amongst your race. We're not talking about color and stuff, ethnicity, your age group. And you may be going through a similar situation as another individual, yet you're able to deal with it better than them. So how you dealt with it is a comprehension based upon your spiritual ability of a train of thought and a line of reasoning that you previously had. So your spirit have expanded. So you still have those abilities along with some new abilities. So you're no longer in that same realm of reality having to deal with the same issues, yet you are familiar with those same issues. So you're able to add new assistance to those old issues where another individual may be still in that pocket that's your same age or peer group and things of that nature that you, when you go through the same situation as them, you can either be the example or show them a better way of dealing with whatever that they're dealing with, that internally they can make up a better mathematical mental program, line of reasoning, and a train of thought that bend into their blood flow and adrenaline, and they make healthier decision making qualities, aka when it comes to their actions. And that's the only way we're able to compare and contrast with that quality too. So you have to make sure you don't think too much shit is pseudo, and you're using your mind to be able to understand what you're going through from the very same instance of what I'm talking about right now, just with a more better, healthier, more comprehending starting point to have you more aware of, to get more hold of what the fuck is going on when it comes to our actual power. The spirit creating mental concepts that actually could be something you're trapped in or something you have full control over, and then it condense and become our actions, and then we can see who's bringing hell on earth or who's bringing heaven or who's just lost and needing to pick it between, and you got that grace to be able to do so. You know what I'm saying? So we all got this quality in the first place, but when you did it over and over, you get qualities of being able to have more comprehension about it and be able to teach other individuals what you have went through within your side yourself, that other individuals had that same possibility because they are on the same spiritual race. So they have similar organs. So they're going to have a similar thought process on this esoteric spaceship that we on. But depending on if a person want to take their little piece and go into the opposite direction and get caught in Yahlahue is another concept. But when we talk about this concept right here, this is about speaking about life. So we bring life into existence. We don't necessarily bring death into existence. So, death is just an experience of expiration. Doesn't necessarily have to be a thought that condensed to be an organ to be reacting and responding into a way that we currently have this spirit one that we're in at the moment. That even when you actually go through the experience, it still ain't in that fashion. It's just y'all be lost in the English terms and words and things of that nature, and it leads you into the wrong direction of which you ain't got no choice to do anyway. So you have an English term for I think, and we don't want to get into I think for I am, but you have even an English term for think and what thinking mean, right? And then you would sit around thinking about what does it mean to think, but you just did it. You just thought. So once you get into over exaggeration, it lead into being in a small portion of ELL that lead into frustration, over exaggeration. Now you're coming up with a meaning and a concept of thinking and total opposite of what you're just doing. Thinking. So now you have a whole mathematical process and dictionary about what thinking is, and it takes a thinking person to even be able to observe it. So if a person lacks the thinking quality, doesn't matter how well the paragraph or definition in the encyclopedia is written about what thinking is, a person who lacks comprehension, still thinking, just not going to be able to think about whatever bullshit is written down in the first place, whether it's a necessity for their needs mentally and physically or not. So for the most part, thinking is just thinking. And once we understand I am, therefore I think, we know a person is, they am, in a certain situation first, and that's going to be the compare and contrasting of the level of comprehension of their thinking. So we don't need to force any type of thinking that a person may not be comprehended or well being able to observe onto their brain at the moment. That's why we need sufficient institutions, not institutionalizing things. See what I'm saying? And a lot of people who go to jail sometimes, depending on the crime, they ain't need jail. They need a straight jacket and a mental asylum for 6 months, not jail. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not just speaking that like we just need to add this quality to the jail industry itself. No, I'm not speaking about it like that. I'm just saying within context of how things is seen from the spiritual world. And it ain't what we do down here, it's how we do it. So, you know what I'm saying, for the most part. But just now getting into the context of, you know what I'm saying, being able to live forever, which, you're already on that path. But like I said, it's your responsibility. We have 3 layers that we're doing after the Great Spirit. You didn't do it before because we don't all live inside of you. So we have a spirit of space. We're always within the Great Spirit. You have the ability to create an awareness, a creature, a character, right? So we all in the great thing building up an overall character. And then you have this ability, right, to take action and it to bend down and to become a physical representation. So the physical world that we are in also is God's body and things of that nature in mama's bosom. So what you choose to do with the ability that the Great Spirit gave you is the challenge, is the mission and things of that nature. Now, look at it like this. As a spirit, try not to look at it like, pardon me, that's a thing. It's no thing, and it's always in search to be fulfilled and make something that mimics it. So the mind mimics the spirit, and the spirit likes to be one of a kind. So you need to make sure your mind is one of a kind. And when it condenses and become the physical, it's plan out those actions. Now, teamwork makes the dream work by default makes us be in an atmosphere that condense and become an environment for you to do that with your own micro atmosphere and environment, thought and body. See what I'm saying? So the better we craft out our micro thoughts, we're crafting out a universal thought. The more we craft out our actions, we're crafting out a universal environment. So our body, action, environment, our thoughts, atmosphere. And as a collection, it becomes the new environment and atmosphere that new fruit, bugs, and species could derive out of on the spiritual washing machine cycle. And this is how indigenous races is created in the first place. So I'm saying, and have this quality of being tapped in. This is what you're tapped into. You're tapped into the land because you're understanding how it moves, because you're part of the engineering and the Great Spirit that put you in charge for that relative to that geographical location and how the atmosphere and environment run from that in sync with others that run slightly different, even when it comes to the sun and the moon transit and time zone. So you have to understand these qualities. You know what I'm saying? Before you think things are pseudo, but yet you're in a world that you're part of it. So you ain't separate from, you need water. You're made out of water. So what the fuck are you talking about? Get out your own head, because getting out of something is the key. But what you're getting out of can misguide you. And you could be thinking you're getting out of something. And every time you come up with a concept that you get out of something, you actually went into something. You can realize to get out of something is using something until it expires. And that's the only way out of it. When your dream time expires, sleep, you get out of dream. When your imagination expires, you're tired of having that thought and feeling, you get out of that. When you rest your body, you let that get to a small portion of expiration. So you let that know that this is letting you recharge energy. And when it fully expires, your spirit creates that same ability. Making something that has a life, a birth, life, deterioration, and expiration. Spring, summer, fall, winter. Wakantaka. You know what I'm saying? So, or yabe, yabe. Equinox, solstice, equinox, solstice. You see what I'm saying? So, when you understand that, there we go. You know, I got to put on my vampire slayer. You know what I'm saying? You know, I had the feather for a while. Now this little time for the goddamn vampire slayer, that we back for the summer. You know what I'm saying? Before I can start shooting these movies and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? It's really crazy horse Tecumseh movies and shit. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, yay. We start thinking about the spirit creating a mind, and that being the engineering, and then that condensing and becoming the physical. So for the most part, when you understand these are things you're in charge of, you're supposed to make it. So that's why you make your mind up, and then it bends in and become your actions based on the mental decision that you just made and things of that nature. So when it comes into being tapped in the environment, right, as a spirit, you're always going to be on the ability, aka when you create a mind and then it condenses and become a body. As spirits, look at it like it's nothing, but we're spaces. Then the great spirit create a mind, so we create a mind, and that mind is our first fruit. So we can make, let's say if our spirits was bees, and we make a thought, that be a substance. Now, if it's relatable, it connects with everybody else's substance. If it's unrelatable, the spirit inside, which is the bee that created the substance, is inside the mind, took that spaceship, the mind is inside, and flew into the opposite direction. So the when we get to the simultaneous world, this is only going to be relatability, relation, and in relations, and relativity. It's only going to be relatability. Is this in sync with something being relatable? So if we was just all air pockets and that was our first body, is your air pocket relatable? Is you in balance and a good dance with the air pockets around you? Or is you trying to separate and you're creating a weird temperature that's indifferent with the matching temperatures that we're creating in a dance? And this is the early stages of the first spirits that's separating themselves from people and don't want to live forever. They want to go through spiritual evaporation because they didn't like either the position that the spirit was in when it became aware and had the mind around it. It didn't like the position it was in based upon all the spirits it had to realize it was around that created their minds. Teamwork makes the dream work. So as that be the atmosphere and the environment we all in, and even in dream world, the spiritual world, person might not like their position and want to create their own positioning and stuff. But if they don't want to play their role, it becomes unrelatable and only relatable to themselves and whoever go with them and things of that nature. So it has nothing to do with a relatability outside of them. It only has something to do with a relatability inside of them. And this is how you're not able to live forever in some way. You can only live in your own mind, or you can't, because the only way to be born has some form of relatability to it. So go beyond father and mother fucking for you to be here. In the mind, you got to have some relatability with someone, aka a common interest. That's a form of relatability and synchronizing. Then it has to have something to do with the absolute. Does that relatability have something to do with the connection of other things, even things that may not be in some personal bias relatability with whatever that you're formulating and who you're formulating with and things of that nature? And can you deal with letting go of something or sacrificing an ego to be able to share the existence with that, or whatever the case may be? And that's how you're able to still find relatability outside of you without it being relatable within you. You found something in existence that predates you, outside of you, that you wouldn't be here without it. So you got a piece of it, and then you didn't lean on your own understanding. Only took your own piece of it and don't give a fuck if there's things in the world that you're connected to that you claim you're not a part of. And you will have to make up you're not a part of it, yet you're aware of it. So you share the world with it. So since you're unwilling to find the messages from the Holy Holies, how you relate to that, you're going to be blocked off from seeing the Great Spirit, the absolute way of finding relatability, even when your own biased way of relatability is unrelatable to this thing. You see what I'm saying? And then that's when you're unhealthy as a spirit without knowing it. And then you have grace, but it takes a lot of those experiences and going to hell for you to come back, even like a person like me, to say I'm back and I'm that. And you'll be on a path like me too. Warning, motherfuckers. Shit, motherfuckers. I don't give a fuck if you believe it or not. It take ears to see, eyes to hear, and once you know better, you do better. You make your own mind up, and you made your mind up to even hear a person like me or someone else you heard, or someone who was in India heard somebody like Babaji. You see what I'm saying? It's like that. And I'm guaranteed whatever homeboy was talking about in India, the fake Indians over there, the Arabs and Asians, I guarantee whatever he's saying, he wasn't talking about you stay in one body. Unless we talking about a mental body, and we ain't talking about one mental body. You have to expand. The spirit has an ability to create similar forms, but it never supposed to be attached to a previous mind and body, because anytime something has a starting point, it has an expiration date. Y'all don't know how to look at that through the lens of the mind, so it's blocking y'all from becoming atmospherical beings. The way I think is the only way you could create a thought and an organ to live amongst the atmosphere. And this is what us natives know. When you disregard that, it's like being counterproductive. You're dissing what you're doing. Your lighter body is your mind. That's the atmosphere. So anytime you think, it's almost like Offset album cover a little bit. Let me see what was Offset last album cover. It ain't exactly like that, but you could kind of give y'all context. Offset latest album cover. Right here. Shout out to Offset. This album cover right here. So when you turn it upside down, that's so it's like an allegory, like how they try to do us Native Americans. Everything about Native Americans, they don't be knowing it. But okay, the city on fire, the Kanakatoras dude. So it's the city on fire, and so you think it's upside down. So it looked like he falling up, but the album cover is really this way. You know what I'm saying? So it looked like he falling down, but the city is upside down and things of that nature. So it's like everything in reverse. They probably was watching my live streams and shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you see that you're never in another world. You're always here. You're just in the less dense version of it. So you're in the less dense version of the substance before it condense and be heavy and convince. Your body is like a statue. Your star is like the statue. Your influence that passed through the star is your mind. And this, what us Native Americans is actually talking about as the sun, moon, and the stars. That's white man know that. When we say sun, moon, and the stars, we're talking about the nations. All the influences of each pocket of the sun and moon and each geographical location in North America, Central and Southern America, and the roles each tribe play to even do our trade routes amongst each other and things of that nature. So we play the roles of the stars, and the chiefs, sachems, Massasoits, Mamanatoids, Aractatois, all that. Aractatois that they took and caused chiefs and stuff, right? These is the stars. You see what I'm saying? Stars ain't something in the sky. It's just they've been playing mind tricks on y'all for a long time. Them satellites in the sky, and then they put in the 7 positions. They trying to control everywhere Native Americans go. So they like shocked that I'm even out the covenant right now. Down here, even talking what I'm talking right now. You know what I'm saying? Like they put people in covenants. They've been working hard on Africans, putting y'all in covenants and Asians in covenants, and they thought they kind of completed and sealed up all the Native Americans and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it get deep, and natives notice. Like all the Native Americans notice that be talking, especially the old ones and shit like that. Y'all don't know that. Y'all gonna get to know real fast. Free man catching on right now. Like, wait a minute, my spirit feel like it's in something. I say you starting to look around. You starting to see it's like a hell. It's made out of words and shit. It's like, but these are real cages in the spiritual world. And you start looking around like, am I in something? Like, I'm in something. You just don't know how to break it down yet, because the only thing, you ain't got no other language or nothing to compare and contrast to. And language is attached to the vibration, and the vibration is attached to our thoughts and feelings. And this is the mathematical procedures, how we make up the image on our mind, which is our spaceship itself. And if you're not controlling where you're going and where you're at and what city and state you are in esoteric Babylon, this why you don't know you in jail already. You know what I'm saying? That you actually do something down here and be in bondage, whether you in debt, whether you in actually jail, in a flunked out relationship, in a culture that's not yours, speaking a language that's not a part of your tongue. Yeah, it's all that shit. It's deep. It's deep. I gotta use the bathroom, y'all. Hold on 1 second. It's deep. Shit deep. Yeah, your ass in a covenant. You know what I'm saying? And some shit like that. So yeah, little engine in a cabin and shit. I'm saying, so look, I could be able to speak like this well. Y'all gonna be waking up pretty soon, and you'll when you in the world I'm in with the holy ones and stuff, they teach you real good. So you will start to see why you even pick the body you currently in, and how to pick up other ones, and how you choose certain percentage scales. So let's say something been going on for a while. In the spirit world, it's the you're more control of your mind. So you can't look at everything through the way y'all using your mind through the filter system of the current organ you're using at the moment. You gotta get your spirit to become more of an adult. You'll start to realize, okay, oh, I'm finding things that match my mathematical thing. So now look at how everybody mix, right? It's making it harder for spirits to come back. You see what I'm saying? So let's say if you're part of a culture or something like that, and you practice this like it's the right thing to do. It ain't what we do, it's how we do it. There's a wrong way that's larger on a percentage scale of how we're mixing that fucks it up for everybody. And whoever started, it's worse for them too. So you have to understand that too. We have to learn how to keep track mentally and physically, not just things that we're lost in synthetic wise, and it got other monetary gain to it. But when it comes to like money and stuff like that, that doesn't necessarily lead to things that fulfill us that actually matters. This is why a lot of times you get real rich and shit, and you don't even care about all those houses you got. You want to just stay in that one little house location and start planting your garden shit, man or woman. No, I'm saying and shit like that. You might be a man, get your age, like you might say, man, fuck going to war and all that shit. It's time for me to go to war with throwing your ass in the bed now, and I want to live the rest of my life and shit and fuck up half of them cars. I only like this favorite car, I like this favorite the area we at in this backyard, or some goddamn shit. And eventually this, but that's why. You know what I'm saying? But here's the thing. Um, we supposed to mix. We ain't supposed to practice incest and things of that nature. But when there's unhealthy ways of doing this, all of our spirits go through the evaporation when it doesn't have the mathematical procedure. It was supposed to come back in a washing machine cycle, right? Every time we're going through a washing machine cycle, you're supposed to be participating with something relatable and synchronized. It don't matter what you're doing, even if we're mixing. It ain't what we do, it's how we do it. We have to make sure we're doing these things the right way. Mixing is just one thing. Eating, our culture, everything. You see what I'm saying? Has to be in that energy. And let's say we're talking about this ethnicity and race thing, and we're mixing in the wrong way, which we're a little bit more higher on a percentage scale. How we've been doing it? We don't even be having no type of connection before we have. For an example, your spirit's supposed to be in a certain space when you're having sex with a person, because the spiritual space that you're in gonna be the thoughts, the awareness and feelings that y'all create is the very substance that let you be aware of where other spirits is at that you're going to bring here, and where you at that you want to maintain if you one of those spirits that's comprehended up with the adult spirits. But when y'all don't got that singular goal and y'all in a relationship based upon synthetic things of that nature, right? You end up bringing a synthetic spirit that's lessening up and going on a train of thought and line of reasoning of getting ready to be spirit evaporated and not have much grace, or keep coming back in things that built insecurities, or I didn't like this mind, and not seeing it that way. And then that's already a path of not liking this world or itself, and that's already by default going the opposite direction from the great spirit. It's not relatable, it's not synchronized. Then this person going to self-project when they start self-reflecting all the things that they feel like unrelatable with inside of themselves, as far as insecurities, what they can't get. And if they're in a synthetic world and shit like that, there's going to be a lot of things that they feel like they can't obtain and think that that's the world. So for the most part, this person is putting themselves in their own bondage, and this doesn't allow a person to come back. You know what I'm saying? Because the mathematical percentage that they're putting on their mind is bending in and become their actions, and that doesn't match anything to do with the washing machine cycle. So the spirit has nothing to come back in. You know what I'm saying? So it's always about being tapped in, the atmosphere and the environment, holy holies, with your own holy, your own anatomy, your own mind, your own body. And then for the most part, as a spirit, you're developing the ability. So when that mind and body fade, you got those abilities because it was more relatable. You're able to add more expanded and more comprehended, relatable and synchronized minds and bodies to come in that match more of the great spirit. When you create minds and bodies that's high rejected or opposing or unrelatable, these are things that get rejected. And then since you're yourself with subjectivity, you only know how to self-reflect these things, and then it start to become projection when you start to do it externally and things of that nature. So you have to make sure you check your spirit, because your spirit represent what spaceship you in, your mentality, and your mentality is going to be what helps your blood, adrenaline condense and become your actions, which don't allows you to be able to hide. You see what I'm saying? And we get good at manipulating every now and then, but manipulating is preventing your own will to be able to come back. So when it comes into the actual environment itself, that's why you want to understand even the tongue. So if you're on a land right now, the spirits, that's the engineer of the original group of spirits that make a specific geographical location or a continent, right? It's going to be their heaven, other people's hell. So you're always going to be in control over the concept of what people come up with as hell, and you're always going to be in control over who got the best comprehension on how to bring heaven there. Now, when you go into another location, you're not going to be able to do that. Whoever indigenous there is going to be able to do that. Now, me saying this does not mean just because you're on a different geographical location from your origins, you automatically going to hell. We all can get to a concept of heaven as long as we're matching relatability and synchronizing energies. So it's just like if we went to Asia and we learned the Asians' way to live next door to them, and we're doing more relatable and synchronizing energies, you still go to heaven. Here's the thing: your spirit always going to float back to where you from, though, because your relatable energies, the dream world don't know no difference. So your spirit is just doing something where it makes a mind that has the ability of the train of thought and line of reasoning of being on a pattern of synchronizing relatability and synchronizing, right? So your spirit only know how to do the relatability, synchronizing of the mathematical direction of the atmosphere. So that's going to be the first spaceship you jump into as a spirit, and that wind gonna go right back to where you from, condense as the clouds, the sun, and get right back in the water and get right back as the influence and all that connection, and you be born back to a person that match more of your ethnicity, whether they're mixed or not. They're higher on a percentage scale. You're always trying to find the percentage scale that match the spiritual space you in and a mathematical percentage scale. So you're trying to find the spirits in your same spiritual space that's making similar mathematical percentage scales that can bend in and become the organs that y'all to carry out your esoteric contracts and things of that nature. So when you're in this space, And let's say there's too much of the negative representation of mixing going on. There's nothing that match your mathematical position within the atmosphere and the environment with the teamwork makes the dream work. So your spirit can't come back into reality. And the last piece of mind that you're trapped in become a hell into that fade. And you want to shut those awarenesses off. And that become spiritual evaporation by default because you don't know how to think with relatability and you're inside of something you got help to create and you created yourself that's really unrelatable. And it was always your responsibility in the first place, but you was living in the world without knowing it. And you still made your own decision to go about things that deal with you not making your own decision. So you have to make your own decision to go about things that doesn't have your own decision in its best interest. You get it? It's like an oxymoron that y'all be living backwards without even catching yourselves. It's deep. And sometimes it's because of the language, because of what y'all involved in, and the synthetic world that y'all built around it. That's why sometimes the English language on it. What time is it? Because I gotta finish these reading. Sometimes the English language is pig-head. So it's like an interpreter language. So a lot of times it only leads to good business or hell. And if the business is good business based upon the morality is still negative, you only could go to hell. Now, you can still persuade it and still kind of, but you can't have a false belief about what the word and the context behind it. So when y'all be getting lost in the titles and a bunch of other things of that nature, this is what allows y'all to sometimes get trapped in an unnecessary covenant. And you'll go to hell, but you'll have grace, but you'll just be a person who come back telling everybody fuck a religion or something like that. Or teaching people how to get out of an emotional state and a thought form that lead to certain actions that a person may not have even taken yet, but you could probably see it on a process, and you might not even know it that deep. This is the path that you're on, but yet you're motivated to do these things. So you're acting off a train of thought and a line of reasoning. This is your spiritual ability. You're just in a new mind and body at the moment, and your spirit was expanding and contracting. And when it got out of that hell, you got this new mind and body with these previous abilities to be able to create new extensions on it, and you still have grace to be able to make it for the great spirit. So you now is up to you to learn more from the holy ones so you can have it through the holy holies to understand it through the absolute way. And people choose not to at times. You know what I'm saying? But everybody be having examples. You ain't even have to die yet to go through this, and you experience micro versions of this. You could be involved in something that at first it was getting in while they're getting as good, then you might start to see where it's higher on a percentage scale, something you ain't supposed to participate with, but it might be still a lot of things that cloud the judgment, and it seemed like it's the right thing to do based upon peer pressure and what's motivated and what's synthetic in the world to appear to be what's normal based upon whatever Walt Disney have put on commercials, right? And then it might be situations that start happening that showed you, hey, this is where this could lead. Those were signs. You might even get in a few funky, flunked out ass situations a few times, right? Once or twice or three times and shit. Then for the most part, it'll lead you into that uncompromising situation. A lot of jail time or death or something, or blue collar scheme or something you weren't supposed to be involved in to lose it all. And but it sometimes you'll be so foolish, it'll take you to go through that extreme situation. So you ain't die, but it'll be a micro version of your whole life going before you. No, your spirit is able to sit still, and all your mental atmospheres, your winds, is like a picture frame that's a picture frequency that start to vibrate, pictures in motion, and then you start to experience the energy of it. A whole bunch of images are showing you was getting ready to lead into your current situation in the first place, and those were signs of get the hell out of that cycle, get the hell out of that program, get the hell out of that covenant, get the hell out of that mental game you in. You know what I'm saying? That's getting ready to lead into the physical version of it. You know what I'm saying? And now it's how the Great Spirit could talk to you. It wasn't a word at all. Wasn't the calendar at all. But the mind and these experiences are forms themselves. And you add your percentage scale to it, and with the collection of other spirits, they add on to their collection, and it becomes a living, slowed down in vibration experience of reality that you claim is real. And it's not for you to be like, well, this don't make this life real. It's for you to understand that's how we make reality. Not, oh, we call it reality, but it ain't real. No, it's very real. We have to make it. So we make the mind condense and become the physical. So we have pockets of reality and things of that nature, and quantum fields of reality. And then it slow down based upon us fulfilling it. And then we get to experience the separation, and then we think we can feel through the layers of it, but it's just a slowed down process. of the frequency vibration and us being in that water stream of energy. So frequency is us emanating images, the spaceship. Once it start to move, that astral projection start to turn into astral travel, the emotion, the liquid from that gas. You know what I'm saying? The fluid from that spark, the imagery from that projection, the frequency start to become a motion picture. The frequency is a picture. The vibration is the picture in motion, and then once it do it for a collection of time, it condenses, and then it's slowed down and processed, and now it's what we're calling energy. You know what I'm saying? But energy is just awareness, and when awareness could has a fusion, friction, and pressure from different temperatures, different thoughts, it implodes and collapses. Then it becomes teamwork makes the dream work, the atmosphere around us, and then that collapse, and then that becomes the environment, and then that's the washing machine cycle. Teamwork makes the dream work. We have our subjective version, and then all of our subjectivity as subjects create the objective, the object. So the subject create the object. Subjectivity create objectivity, not the other way around. It's not objectivity, and then you can replace your faulty mind and thought forms and goddamn titles over it, and then for the most part you get this false concept of universe and shit like that, and then some human come up with a concept of some imaginary being, and then you would think I'm talking about an imaginary being, and I'm talking about how we built ourselves up, and we get that ability from the great spirit, the great space. And you might think, oh, well, then now you get into anthropomorphizing. And I ain't get into anthropomorphizing. I ain't say we got a bunch of different type of spirits that jump into different type of forms. That's how you got a spirit in a bear. So that's a sentient being, spirit in a human. We ain't say all spirits take human forms, and we ain't say all spirits is goddamn it some sentient goddamn thing either. But we do got this concept of ability. So just because you could think you have a thought after something to have a thought, that don't mean the thought is the same thoughts. And thought itself is a substance. So the awareness is the teamwork makes the dream work. So we could create similar versions of something, but it ain't necessarily the same thing. This is why a bear can have a thought. They ain't got human thoughts. A lion can have a thought. They ain't got bear thoughts. An alligator can have a thought. So the thoughts bend in and become organs. So if we in the great parameter, we all have the ability to have our own individual solo spirit, which is a space, a soul. If we in a great thought, that means we all have the ability to think. If we in a great body, if we in a great form, that means we all have the ability to have a form. So now you have to counterpartmentalize how that's being done. Is what I'm talking about, a thing that you get ready to anthropomorphize and say, okay, this thing is a spirit, and this thing wanted to create a thought, has a need and a desire, and then this thing wanted to create a physical. No, that's not what's happening. What's happening is we all are spiritual spaces, and for the most part, the thought is going to be relative to the spiritual space. So it's I am the spiritual space, and then I think, not I think, therefore I am. You could think you something that you're not and don't even know what that means. You see what I'm saying? And then you can only make up your means from yourself. So you have to keep that in mind. The atmosphere is a thought. Just because you got a piece of the atmosphere, right, and we made the atmosphere as a team, doesn't necessarily mean the atmosphere thought is in the same ramifications of your thought. Just like your thought ain't the same ramification of a bear thought. Just like a fish thought ain't the same ramification of a shark thought. You see what I'm saying? So you have to understand a thought is a thought. Doesn't necessarily have to be a human thought. So when we start to talk about the great parameter, you're in something that's all possibilities. The moment you thought, you made all possibilities possible. See what I'm saying? So without you, there is no atmosphere and environment. So if you don't know how to treat the atmosphere and environment, you spiritually evaporate and get out of here. If you do know how to create relatability into the atmosphere and environment, then you stay here. Now, here's the thing. You know, everybody is teamwork makes the dream work. The whole world ain't through you. So you have to use your thought and try to find an absolute thought. try to find a perfect thought. Now, like I said, try. So you ain't perfect. So if we're striving for a perfect thought, ain't nothing more perfect than the grand thought. And if we're building the grand thought, ain't nothing more perfect than being relatable and being in sync. And then that's when the Great Spirit can actually be on earth and things of that nature. But other than that, that's just all possibilities. We make all possibilities possible. People don't be trying to make all possibilities possible because they don't be trying to be themselves. So when you don't try to be yourself, you're not trying to be one of a kind. So you're not trying to make something impossible possible. Yet you've been on this train of thought and line of reasoning since the beginning of time. You've been making the impossible possible. You've been fulfilling nothing with something. You just start to lose track the more you get in a comfort zone in one of these abilities that you end up having, and you don't want to see it no other way. And so you don't like to become an atmosphere being. You don't want to be amongst the Great Spirit, the great parameter, and make a heavenly world and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? You want to stay in a human thought, and you want the world to be confined in a human world, and everything ain't human. So I'm just gonna keep it 100 with you. Everything ain't human. So you could try that, but you'll get your spiritual ass kicked. You could try that. The atmosphere will kick your ass. You could try that. You know what I'm saying? So at the first, like I said, you just try it. But you know, there's something you have to participate with, and if you're not participating with it the right way, you're going to be anthropomorphizing. So when it comes into being here forever, you need to know there's an absolute way of doing something, so you're needed forever, or there won't be no existence and things of that. So you're acting out something, and you in fear to detach from that link, right? And so you start to realize you're in control over keeping a link intact. So you become a warrior for the Great Spirit, not someone who's anthropomorphizing the Great Spirit. You're supposed to already know what to do and things of that nature. If you got your own mind, then you're supposed to know the Great Spirit is something we are building up that it's supposed to have its own mind. If you somewhere claiming something out there is putting you in a situation that ain't got nothing to do with how you got here in the first place, and the goddammit synchronizing things of that nature, then you're going off your own understanding. And it only, I guarantee it only relates to you. So it's a human thought. It ain't necessarily have anything to do with this teamwork makes the dream work. For you to relate with something, another person that don't have your thoughts, you have to find some relatability. There's other spirits out here with thoughts that ain't human. You still have to learn how to relate to. So we in a great spirit, the great parameter, and we not all in your world. You know that your thoughts supposed to be relating to something outside of you. Like, you know that. There ain't no way you don't know that. You know what I'm saying? And here's the thing. That thing ain't making you do nothing, or it would have created a form for you to do it. But look at it like this, because this is where y'all humans get confused. Let's say an animal was here that had a thought before you. Swimming. So before you even thought of swimming, there was an animal that swam. So they created that, they got that thought. So that animal ain't about to be around to teach you how to swim. Yet the whole possibility for you to know what swimming is and for you to want to swim, something did that before you. Now that thing ain't around to tell you swimming is about. You gonna find your own concept of why you like swimming. Here's the thing though. There's a right way to swim and there's a wrong way. You can't swim, right? So there's a right way you have to do something for you to swim. So that thing that ain't you, that got a different mind and a different thought, done swimming a certain way that if you don't do swimming that way, you won't make it across the river. You gonna drown. So regardless of that animal that ain't your mind and ain't your organ, swim, whether that thing, that animal is around you or not to teach you how to swim or not, and whether you learn how to swim or not, you know that there's a right way to swim. And if something swam before you, the way it thought for it to make it across the river was the right way to do it. So take it away from y'all ego and something being on earth already, and knowing that even how you got here, it's spirits floating around and we get in each other's minds to come here. So if there's spirits that ain't human and they're in mind bodies, other species body and stuff like that, that still doesn't mean it's not doing something. That since you share the same world with it and it's not around you, that don't mean that you're not supposed to find the right way to still do it. Now you could be like, I don't like swimming, so I'm gonna drain all the water so no one swim anymore and stuff like that. But then I ain't got nothing to do with relatability. That got something to do with self-reflecting. You can't swim, stopping everybody else from swimming, and then you projected that, and then you did something to the environment that prevent you of how you got here in the first place. But yet you probably just got money off what you just did, and then we're creating a world around how that's normal. But yet there's something that did something before you for that to be there in the first place, for you to start rubbing your Birdman hands together and get things sold up. You get what I'm saying? So just because something not there, you don't need to think it was a human that swept before you. It could have been a beaver. It could have been God, right? And it had its own thought and meanings or reasonings why it needed to swim across the river. But regardless of that thing and that different thought, right? For the most part, it swam, and it was a right way to swim. And you know, when you swim, if you don't swim the right way, you'll drown. Regardless if that thing was there and telling you that swimming was the right thing to do or not, you're in a world where swimming exists. So for the most part, you have to look at the Great Spirit like that. You have to look at it like that. That shit ain't gonna be talking to you. Ain't no word. But it's something that's done, just like ain't nobody gonna teach you how to fuck. But you know fucking was done for you to be here. You get what I'm saying? You got to be spiritual to understand what I'm saying. I'm trying to teach y'all how you forever be here. That you're seeing a whole bunch of polarized versions of something that we're doing that has nothing to do with the polarized versions of what you're seeing. For an example, you could think about, I'm tired of standing up, so let's create the existence of chairs so we can sit down. But a chair has nothing to do with how you created it out of a thought. The chair ain't a thought itself. You get what I'm saying? But you made the chair out of thoughts. So the material condensed from the atmosphere of thought and just become Lego blocks. But what you do with the broken down polarization Lego block become the situation that you could get lost in. But if you don't understand how we're making the Lego blocks in the first place, this is how you get lost in your mind while using your mind to get lost in your mind. See what I'm saying? So you have to be careful. We could think and bring things into existence, but the thing in existence ain't the thing we created it from. This how you might get confused in creating y'all God concepts like God created the world, but God not a part of it. You getting lost. You just lost in your mind. Your spirit create the mind. That don't mean your spirit a part of it. And your mind creates the body. So the body is a part of it, but your body has the same type of template. You could get your hand cut off or something like that, decapitated Lieutenant Dane, but you still Lieutenant Dane. You could lose your mind and go into a mental institution or something like that, but your spirit's still inside of that body, just not using his mind. You know what I'm saying? So you acting like you retarded or something like that, but your spirit's still in there being a sentient person, moving your arm when you want to move it and shit. You just don't use it at a time when people think you intelligent and you comprehend it up. You know what I'm saying? So you might need a straitjacket for your arm when it moves and shit. Like, oh, I'm saying, we don't need your arm moving nowhere else. People get hurt when your arms start moving. And you yourself get hurt and shit like that, and your wrists and shit get, you know what I'm saying? So you gotta start thinking. So for the most part, we make the world, then that happens, and then we pluck from the world. But if we don't appreciate what we did to create it, we're separating ourselves from all possibility and what we're making possible. And if we keep making hell possible, this is what we do for ourselves. And we keep coming into less layers of our own hell that look like we're still able to keep up with others, but we know that we're missing layers. We're missing layers, mentally and physically, in some way, shape, or form that allows the spirit to be too naked to what we're creating as a layering system between us and others in the environment and the atmosphere. And when your layering system is too thin, your mind end up being extra survival and your physical end up being deterioration too fast when it comes to you interacting with the environment. So like your neurons and tissue and layering mentally and physically is not sufficient to sustain this world we in. So you didn't make a healthy spaceship, mind and body. So you need external assistance from what you're made out of. You just lack a percentage scale of it. So you got to drink it from others, like the old Yahlahue settler colonizers used to eat us Native Americans, or you have to do external synthetic GMO things in order to survive in a body that should be a well-oiled running machine. What time? Oh shit, I ain't even want to go an hour. My bad. So let me finish these readings. Well, I might as well go ahead and finish this 5 minutes. So you have to keep that in mind. Oh, I ain't monetized. But yeah, so to break it down so you can understand what you're keeping in charge of. As a spirit, you eternal. Your mind, internal. And when it condenses and become external, your spirit creates, it's in its own no thing. Now, when you make a mind, you fulfill it. It becomes something, right? So that's internal. It becomes your internal world that you inside of as a spirit. Then once you start to create that externalizing, it condenses and becomes something you can outwardly do, right? So it becomes the external, your body. So as a spirit, it's supposed to always be in control of your internal, you being inside of your mind, and then your external, using your mind to control the mechanism of creating thoughts and feelings that bend in and become blood, adrenaline, organs, bone marrow. And then you see we're doing that mechanism. Teamwork makes the dream work. We all think, create the atmosphere. We all continue to do that with our different temperatures, minds, fusion, friction, and pressure. It implodes and become environment. And then each species that's doing it as a spirit with their own mind, all of it connect and then become the relative mathematical procedure of what kind of organs we're making. And then teamwork makes the dream work. We're all able to be aware of each other in this existence in our own worlds, our minds. And then it's a microlizing. Each spiritual root race got their comparing and contrasting on a percentage scale on different minds and percentage scales of organs that be more similar, higher on a percentage scale than a different spiritual root race that become before or after you. Before you, atmosphere beings. After you, animals will become after animals, who become aware after them, bugs, who become aware after them, parasites, who become aware after them, bacteria. And then for the most part, this is why we're always able to experience new funguses, new species, and new indigenous humans, and new atmospheres and geographical locations. And all these have a time zone. So the larger, the slower the process. So we know when the atmosphere and the environment start to produce and the land start to derive out of the water and start to become an actual geographical location extension, we know that's going to be a larger amount of time than the plants and stuff like that and the water flow that start to derive. We know that's going to be a slight longer time than the humans. I mean, the atmosphere and the holy ones. We know that's going to be a slight longer time than the humans and the way that they're moving their thoughts and their actions towards the environments. We know that's going to be a slight longer time than the animals, slight longer time than the damn bugs, slight. And then for the most part, that's us on this grace washing machine cycle, birth, life, deterioration, expiration, micro version of spring, summer, fall, winter, and our spirits leaving mind and bodies behind. And if they're relatable, they're the extension of the universe. If they're unrelatable, spirit may get trapped into it to realize, yeah, hate this, but you got grace. And when you can escape, you can get out of this mind and wake up again with a new mind, condensing into a new body to be amongst people who's in that same relatable spiritual space to be able to have some team energy. You know what I'm saying? You can have parents again with that come from the seed of relatability and synchronizing. The more separation, you separate yourself from relatability, so you still had those qualities, so you've been building up that spiritual ability, but then when you're in the human body, you created a foggy mind that you stay in and think it's still stuck in the alive body, and then you only make images of being born. You only make images of dying. Then you so attached to how it felt, you experience it like it's real, because it's the stimuli that bends in and become the organ, but the organs died. The vehicle died. You died as the flesh, and the mind trying to wake it up, but can't. So you actually experiencing all the stimuli, having a pee, having a shit, being nervous, being scared, drowning, being in fear, thinking this thing's gonna go wrong. Then you're gonna try to shut these things off, which is shutting off thinking and feeling, and that's gonna be the only way that you create minor dreams of thinking it's the right way to do. But then it's lesser and lesser dreams where you're on the same cycle as everyone else. You're just stuck in your mind, get ready to be spiritually evaporated, not being able to spark another thought of relatability or synchronizing, and that's where spiritual evaporation go. You could have went on the process of being relatable and already been outside of that mind and body and been born again, and then that previous mind and body, you're able to be like, I'm back. And find if somebody made statues, will be like, okay, yeah, I was this person. This is what I want to be now. Same characteristics, different mind, body, and different name you want to be and stuff like that. But you'll be the same character, and you'll be able to tell people, I'm back, and I'm that person at that century or that couple of decades ago. You know what I'm saying? And this would our Native American grandmothers taught. This what they was wiser on the man. So they actually gave like the sachems and the war chiefs and the medicine men the idea of, if you create a little area and the burial ground, and actually the person who died, bury them with the things that they liked and what they was willing to do when they was getting raised up and stuff like that. When the young females were getting this how grandma talking, when we're raising up the young female, she pick her star in the sky and things of that nature, she stays stationary there. The stars is our mind. The sun and the moon has to go there to be the representation of that on earth first. After the fact, not no actual star being there. Then once she get raised up and find a man or whatever the case may be, her firstborn, male or female, is going to be that spirit. See what I'm saying? And this is how you keep track of your ancestor and then them being the kids again and then listening to them. And this is where the whole concept of kids is smarter than adults, because they teach you what to do and what not to do when you're doing the same thing based upon your culture or agriculture. And the kid don't know what they know. They secretly know, kid. But you'll be looking at them with your adult comprehension, like how you know, but they'll be saving you through situations that you're raising them up in with stuff that the kid may still lack comprehension in their new mind and body, but the spirit is an adult. But it'll be things like if y'all going to hunt or gather and stuff like that and foods and stuff, on the kid would be like, no, don't do that. Or because they're expressing a trauma that got transmuted positive. Something they went through already, and it's being done in a new way, but the spirit has the ability to have comprehension on it. And they're just in a younger body than you. And this is an actual thing, though. This is supposed to be normal. This ain't, y'all didn't got so far, especially if y'all foreigners, y'all know nothing of this. But even Native Americans now, even some on reservations and shit, we got so far away from this shit and things of that nature that everybody lost at this point. But these is qualities and stuff like that that is supposed to be normal. These is things that, this is why you're lost now. If you in the quality of trying to figure out who you are still an elder spirit. If you someone who don't ever care nothing about this, you are a new spirit, but you will be in this cycle, regardless of what percentage scale you jump in and the mixture. It's still going to be more on a percentage scale, what you actually are, and you still going to be always in this compare and contrasting. And let's say you jump into a world where you're at right now, everybody's super blended. You might be a spirit that been on that path, so what you pick as a mathematical precision is extreme undecisiveness. The mental and physical form, location, and group of family that you may pick maybe a blending of a 15%, 50%. So you're so evened out of every ethnicity, you might be more of a loving person too, and against any resistance towards anything, but then it's hard for you to stand on anything too when it counts, and for you to be making good decisions. And even when it comes amongst your own people and stuff like that, it's going to be those crucial, critical times. You need to make a decision. You need to stand on something. And when you don't, that end up being distasteful from you too. You know what I'm saying? And you're going to start to learn. And a lot of times you see these people too. These be the same type of people that, especially if they foreigners over here, they only got a few things to pick from. Christianity, Amor, Hebrew Israelite, other people's cultures and races, and not quite sure what they are. And if they know what one of their parents is that goes against it, they'll find something in the book that suit the purpose of whatever the other parent is or something like that, and then go harder for a race and an ethnicity that they ain't even is. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of times y'all see that. That's how y'all get that Malibu Most Wanted energy. Or this is how you get this tether energy online at the moment. And then since we all going through this culture shit, everybody got to fight for their cultures now and shit like that. And I hate that I even got to be going deep in my shit, that when I go deep in my shit, it kind of looked like the early stages where racism came from, that it just got dumped on us. And I hate being in that energy. You know what I'm saying? I hate being in that shit. Because that's not me. But I'm still intelligent, and we about honor and truth. But since there's so much foreigners over here, having truth itself goes against other people's monetary gain. So something that ain't negative look more negative than what it is, because of the synthetic world we in. That's why if you utter stupid stuff like in the government or Jews or money practices or talking too much, and you ain't even a part of them, but you could get caught in their RICO charge because you live in their neighborhood, or you was on the wrong platform and stuff. This where or you could get deplatformed. But in all actuality, dumb issues ain't even real. Why people getting deplatformed and stuff like that. And then the real issues in the world, we seem not to even look at. You know what I'm saying? It's weird. And you can only see that if you got another language, or if you're spiritual enough to be able to break out of the covenant, because you only understand English, and or you know what I'm saying, and you only about certain things that still lead you to be unfulfilled spiritually, yet you're not a spiritual person to understand that's what's going on when you give your blood, sweat, and tears for things that give you that day or two or week or what month or couple of years of feeling validated, because we had a thumb. But wash my hands, don't touch my face, get a style or something like that. But yeah, look, accept it. But you know, when you're alone or amongst your close ones, you know, those be the first things that a person will point out, like, we don't give a fuck about that right now. And you know how a lot of y'all, and ain't nothing wrong with money and a good job. That's cold. I'm just saying, your spirit, y'all know y'all reach those certain spaces where you get that vacation day, or you got this, and you got those close ones, and it'd be cool like last week, but y'all reach those days, that one day where a family, a friend, a close one be like, all right, man, we don't care about that today. We don't care about that car today. We don't care about that today. We don't even want to go to that vacation. Let's do something simple this month. Let's do something. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And you'll be thinking like, damn, I worked hard to do this, and I want to express it and feel like I'm doing that, and it don't even mean nothing. And then certain people with money, because I ain't even gonna lie, I gotta stop this. I used to do this a lot, and sometimes I'll be relapsing every now and then. I gotta stop. You'll get into a position where you work hard or you do something. So yeah, you got backup, but you'll realize that ain't even what's the deal. Even when it comes into dates and stuff like that, people be wanting more simple shit. You'll be thinking you got to go to Disney World, La La Land, to heaven and back and shit like that, and you'll work hard, no matter how long it take, to have that in your mind, just to, when you get ready to do it, that ain't what's expected or anything in that nature. So you'll be thinking in your mind like, damn, I did all that bullshit. And then, especially if you native, you'll start thinking, man, white man got my mind confused about something. So this must be a white man goal that I thought I would like, and I got there, ain't it. And who I'm doing it for or something like that, don't even care about that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you be thinking like, oh. So now you start seeing other shit in the world too, how old people, especially people who get rich, how they start looking at certain shit, and then they start thinking about things like this ain't fulfilling. You know what I'm saying? So they start thinking that type of stupid shit too. Don't spam my chat. Because you just express, oh yeah, let me get off of here anyway. Because when you spam my chat, you just express how racist you are. Because I've been on here too long. Y'all burnt yourselves out for trying to make it seem like I have new people, right? Only new people I got is I don't really have new people. I'm seeing people watching me, and if they are new, they just new Native Americans and free man and Puerto Ricans and common sense people and regular white people that make sense. You know what I'm saying? That ain't in government. Any white person in government, no. Them devils. White regular people, that's people in our areas. You know what I'm saying? People that's just like us, trying to get it how we live. Them good people. You know what I'm saying? White regular people are good people. I don't know about these devils in government and stuff like that. So don't do no psyops. Don't lead no don't lead them because I'm always up here being a vampire slayer. You don't get to do your weird way of doing it. I didn't let you in. I ain't say you was welcome. I said the free man is welcome. I said the Puerto Rican is welcome. I said the Mexican is welcome. I said stuff like that. I said the Dominican is welcome and stuff like that. I said the common folk white boy is welcome. The white woman is welcome. I don't remember seeing nobody that I said was welcome. That's a damn vampire that got technology and AI and stuff. I don't remember saying y'all. I don't remember saying that in this live stream. I said I do not remember saying that. So I don't know how y'all always get up here and just start flooding my shit and try to make it seem like, oh, it's just some random college kids or some shit like that that's bored. Ain't nobody even speak my language. My title say Haël'Ho Yahlahue. So y'all haters been watching. Y'all jealous. Y'all always jealous of my people. And now y'all showing y'all jealousy towards the free man. So y'all want to make fake statues about them now. Y'all don't want to give them no respectable people. How we used to help Harriet Tubman and her people and stuff through the railroads and shit like that and shit. And the Haudenosaunee and stuff, especially them, the Shawnees, everybody, especially in this Ohio area. Shawnees, Wyandotte, we was helping all the people who was free mans, who wanted to become free, and the free women's and stuff like that, and start mixing in with us and shit like that. That's how you get all these beautiful people now and shit like that. Yeah, man, we getting retarded people who hating now. We getting hater energy. We get hater energy. I said, don't hate on beautiful people. I said, stop hating on beautiful fucking people and shit. What's wrong, Mr. Krabs? Mr. Burns? What's wrong? Y'all said, stop being hateful people now, Mr. Burns and stuff. Y'all said, real show hating on beautiful people. No, I said, because you wanna spread everybody around and think ugly people was about to be made. Nope, only beautiful people got made. Stop being haters. Y'all said it's like hating that shit. That's what I'm saying. It's jealousy. It's always some jealousy shit. They always was jealous. That's what they did to Crazy Horse. Crazy Horse had his own problems and shit. You know what I'm saying? He done got shot in the face by other Native Americans and shit from taking their bitches and shit like that. There goes some white sergeant, some white boy want to secretly stab him and shit while he in a line, in a police line and shit like that after he then got captured, because they want to have in their mind, we captured somebody, we captured a star. They always want to capture us. That's why all y'all celebrities, us freedmans and stuff, look, learn from the Native American. Don't go to jail and try to become a gladiator or something like that. You ain't gonna never get out. Yeah, and something might just happen to you or something like that all of a sudden. Or they might put you in a hole for 1,000 years or make you lose your mind. So you ain't got the right sufficient mind to even use your gladiator, Billy Blank's body and shit. Y'all said so, nah, yeah, watch these cats, man. Watch it. Learn from the native now. We done told you. And especially in the last 15, the only 15 seconds we had in the centers. Y'all better understand what the fuck going on in this motherfucker. Shit, goddamn it. My whole goddamn channel is the prequel to the centers. You better motherfucker believe it. So free man, y'all learn, write it down. Y'all better start writing shit down too. Your intellectual property is every fucking thing. And when you say, ooh, I got this talent, you Michael Jordan, here go Nike. Here go Nike. You get ready to let them in. And you get ready to have a son that ain't nothing but a fucking drunk. And ain't none of y'all getting ready to make no money off the NBA. Y'all get ready to die and white boys still getting rich off NBA. And that's it. And you let them in. And you let them in. And I love all y'all from the bottom of all y'all stay spiritually protected. I told y'all motherfuckers that shit. And my motherfucking New Warrior our soundtrack should be the damn soundtrack to the centers. And shit, why it ain't? Now why it ain't? Why it ain't? Nah, I love all y'all from the bottom of my heart. Real shit, Flame Boss, bitch, you know, for sure. You know, listen to the moderation move. I'm the Royal Archangel Uriel. And I'm here to carry God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. Somebody can tell y'all read. All y'all about to have y'all read this before even or anything. Let me get this person. Let me get this race. Let me get the races out of here real quick. Get all the races out of here. I'm saying block. I'm saying what's the races? Yeah, people weird. Yeah, all right. Look, I want to lead this off this too, right? Anytime y'all see people in people's chats or fake videos online that's in more judgmental energies, than themselves, they're not a supporter, right? It's the feds. So if they in somebody chat talking about themselves, talking about the content creator, or talking about others, is this a white man trying to control your mind? That's it. Because they lost in validation issues. They need to know how others feel about them, or they need to know the sentiment of something to create a subjectory. And then if it's a white boy in government, this is the only thing they know how to do to create their jobs. They don't have a talent themselves. So you'll have people online saying, people don't need to get in relationships no more, or relationships are dead, or men don't want women, or women need to manipulate men, or red pill, or some stupid stuff like that. This is perverts. It's perverts online. So when you got a chat, when you're a real content creator, you already know what I am. All y'all celebrities that reached out to me, y'all know. And then for the most part, yeah. So don't at this point. Is we do our own reverse psychology, which this is them giving away their power. So this is what you need to understand, white boy. There's nothing you can even say or do anymore to make yourself appear to be cool, like someone's supposed to care about how you look at something. No one cares about your opinion about how anything looks. So how a person look, dress, how we presenting ourselves, you gonna put yourself in a line of fire again, your spiritual ass kicked, even opening your mouth. You have no culture, you're no example, and you only know how to not self-reflect, but only project. So even when you're coming in the lens of thinking you're for somebody, you don't know yourself enough to be able to do it. So you need to learn more about yourself first, so you don't project too much robot energies, and you was born as a human. Learn how to create blood. Like, you're retarded. You don't know how to create blood. But I love all y'all from the bottom of my heart. And let's continue to make the world go around.